Maybe it was a little earlier than that. All of a sudden, I just get this like bam, and I realized where I wanted to go with this. And as I always say at the beginning, is you may be like, wow, she's talking to me. This is 100% for me. You also might be like, wow, she's talking to somebody that's not here. So, my goal is to help empower us as well as set us up for this beautiful, safe place of healing, right? So, we're
Amen.
always doing that. We're always going, okay, my goal is like create a safe place for you to encounter love, encounter God within you because it's in you, right? Hey, Aisha. And so, like, we're always just in that realm, but I also want you to be thinking outward. What does it look like to have a language, not to try to push your belief on somebody, but a language of healing and a language of transformation, right? And I think more and more as people are knowing more, they're getting to know themselves more because it's so funny. It's like when I started talking about the nervous system stuff, it's like what you're focusing on will you'll draw to you. And so now it's like I see so many people that I never saw talk about it or talking about it. Well, there's a reason, y'all. We've been ignoring, for the most part, a really important part of healing for a long time. We've been ignoring this place of uh, transformation, thinking there was something wrong with this. And so we were waiting for this miraculous intervention. And those happen. They do. It's cool. But I just want you to know you are the transformational miracle, the supernatural intervention. You're it. You are it. Yeah? Okay. So, as always, I just want you to take a breath. Just let you settle. Because you are, as I call you every week, good morning, beautiful humans. Like, good morning, beautiful human. And before we talk, before we teach, I want to ask you the same question I always ask. Could you allow yourself to be exactly as you are right now? I mean, you are. There's nothing you can do to change you in the next 30 seconds, right? And that's okay. So just allow yourself to be exactly as you are right now, not the version of you that's supposed to show up all put together, not the version that has it all figured out, just you, however you showed up today. And I want you to feel, I love to do this because it matters. This is nervous system stuff. There's a reason why I do this next part. And I just want you to feel whether you're sitting or lying right now, feel it underneath you. The couch, the chair, the bed. Like just feel it. Experience it right now. Just notice it. No big deal. Easy peasy. Just notice these things and just how they are holding you this morning. So even if on the inside you don't feel supported, you are. Let your body being supported right now, the fact that you are held, you are here, and you are enough, let that go into every part of you. Just be like, yeah, I'm supported. I'm held. I'm cocooned. And I'm enough. Just hear that in your body. Now I want to do a little something different today. As I was preparing, my pastor, minister, mama heart was churning last night, so I'm going to follow it. I want you to actually look at the people in the Zoom room. It'll grow as we go this morning, but look at the names or the faces of the people on your screen right now. If you're listening later, just even imagine family, the people that you're close to. Some of you guys have been in this room for 9 weeks. You've been here every week, and man, thank you for that. That's so awesome. That gives me a clue that, hey, this is meaningful, and this is a great little wrap up the week, step into the weekend, and just kind of this place to go, okay. And so you come on a Saturday morning. I'm going to tell you why you come. You don't have to tell me. You come because whether or not you fully believe it, you know it's true. You know you're worthy. You do. And you know love isn't something you have to earn. But when you hang up the call, get off the Zoom, and the week starts again, right? Sometimes there's this voice. You know the one. There's a voice that is like, it tries to reason with us. The voice of reason. Don't you love it? It kind of starts reasoning, and it kind of starts telling you all the reasons, well, you're not worthy. And here's how it'll do it. I know this because I've heard these same voices. It's like, okay, but look at your bank account. It says, look at how lonely you are right now. It says, look at how shaky that friendship is. Look at how your body feels. So Aaron just said you're worthy of transformation and healing. You're worthy of love. And it adds up and it goes, but something is wrong with you clearly. And what happens to our nervous system when maybe it's not those exact words that you've heard. I guarantee you we've all heard them. And we definitely know somebody who listens and hears those voices all the time. So always listen for you and listen for someone else. So, because what happens is when we will say, okay, something's wrong with you clearly, right now our nervous system goes, okay, scan for trouble, scan for trouble. That puts us in fight or flight. That puts us in stress mode. It magnifies the overwhelm because we were created, our bodies were created so intricately, this incredible creator of the universe created our bodies to actually manifest healing all the time and manifest peace all the time. Like we were made for that. And actually, when our nervous system is going all wonky, it's actually doing its job. It's trying to protect you from what you believe is wrong about you. So that's why when we hit it from this side, we hit our nervous system with going, okay, I'm just letting you know that you're supported, you're safe. You don't have to even support me in the way you've been supporting me in the past. The fighting and the just constant battle, right? And so you might be sitting here thinking, going, I want peace. I want this love that you just keep talking about, Aaron. But I feel like there's this chasm. And you're thinking, here's me over here in the mess. And here's the truth. Over there that you keep telling me about is true. I believe that there is this place of transformation and healing and peace and love. I believe it. But I don't know how to close the gap. Is anybody else ever felt that? Felt like, gosh, I've heard the answers a lot. But sometimes I feel like there's a chasm between me and actually living there. Not just knowing about it. We believe it. But living it, right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And how do we close that gap? Well, the fact is we aren't in charge of closing the gap. And I don't have a quick fix for that today. What are we doing here? I'm not going to pretend the chasm isn't real. But listen, the fix is, you know it. We're going to get there. But it's not something that just happens overnight, because you've had decades of your body believing that there was something wrong or believing that you're not safe. And so I'll tell you this, the voice that's adding up your circumstances and handing you a verdict is not telling you the truth. It's really convincing, though. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, there's some stand-up comedians that their jokes aren't even that funny, but the way they command a stage and the way they can just be talking and then they'll just look over on one side of the room and you're just, it's hysterical. They're TV shows where you see people who are just so fast and they're so on it and they're just bam right there. And that's a great storyteller. And oftentimes it doesn't even matter what the message is. If you have somebody that can communicate really, really well, that's who we'll gravitate to. We see that all the time. Great communicators who are telling us something that's completely untrue, yet a whole group of people will follow this. I mean, we've seen it through history. But listen, that voice that's adding up all the things that are still wrong, handing you that verdict is simply not telling you the truth. And you are not what's happening to you right now. Let me say that again. You are not what is happening to you right now. If you have pain in your body, that's not who you are. It's happening, right? You never have been that the source of that accusation. So before we go any further, I just want you to, now this is where you just have to trust me here. Could you just let that chasm exist? Don't try to close it right now. Just notice it. Just notice it's there. And notice that you showed up anyways. Yeah. That's not nothing. That's everything. Now, I'm not going to leave you here, you and the chasm. Actually, you know what this reminds me of? We watched a movie last year called The Gorge. I'm not necessarily recommending it, but it was very fascinating. It's called The Gorge. And did anybody see it? But anyways, it's about these two guards who are stationed on opposite sides of this massive gorge. And I feel like the reason they got there, they got the assignment, was because they were major sharpshooters and they were really good at their job, right? So they're on opposite sides of this massive gorge, and the whole thing is full of fog, and you can't see down into it. But underneath this fog, there are these monsters. And if nobody's watching, if nobody's standing guard, they'll climb up and get out to the rest of the world. And so from where they're standing, it's actually beautiful. There's lots of green and quiet. There's this gorgeous fog. You'd never know what's underneath unless you knew to look. You would never know. And I think a lot of us live like that. We hold the watch. We keep things at bay all the time. And it can feel like it's looking pretty good from the outside. Put together, fine. The fog is rolling gently over the quiet morning. But we know what's down there. And we know what we're managing every single day just so it doesn't climb out. Does this make sense? Does this bring a kind of a, like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It feels like I'm fighting myself. It feels like there's this constant pull on me to actually solidify that I'm not enough. And we're trying to keep these things at bay all the time because we don't really know what's going on there. And we know that we're managing every single day just so it doesn't climb out. Just so those words and those thoughts and those hidden beliefs that we don't really tell anybody out about don't come to the surface. And then, almost without warning, a thought sneaks to the edge anyways. Something's wrong with you. What if you're actually broken? What if this is your life? What if your financial situation is never going to change? What if your body's never actually going to get better? See, something is wrong with you, right? And then here we are. We're back to swinging at it again. We're back to trying to beat the sniper, right? And it's this constant dang battle. Because here's the thing. I'm not interested in giving us a cute little solution today. I'm not going to say, y'all, just have faith and move on like that fixes the chasm. Because that's not what it is. And this is why we do these pauses. And my hope is that I'm teaching you some practices with what we do at the beginning every week, that I'm teaching you some things that you'll take with you into life, that you'll do throughout the week, because I'm telling you it works. Because every time you do that, it's why when I'm asking you to notice the chair underneath you, to notice your breath, to notice your hands, to even notice the fabric that's on your skin, notice it, because every time you do that, every single time, you are signaling something to your nervous system. You're telling your body, I am willing to pause. I call this the epic pause. I'm willing to pause. I'm willing to notice. And then I just gently say, I am supported. I am held. I am covered. Y'all, that's not passive. It's not giving up. It's actually one of the most powerful things you can do. Because what is it doing? It creates space. It creates space between you and the chaos. It creates space between you and the noise. It's space between you and the voice that keeps handing you a verdict. I mean, I know you guys know this feeling, because y'all, I do this all the time. But there'll still be something when something really gets a little shaky, and that fear goes, yeah, but maybe this time. And that voice will come and try to hand you a verdict, and you can feel, for me, it's almost like all the blood rushes up to my head, and it's like, I can feel my body begin to tense. And the second I even feel a tinge, in that space, I create space. I'll pause everything. I've told you guys, I'll walk into the other room just for a second and close my eyes. And I'll just feel, usually I'll go to my room and I'll sit on my bed and I'll just feel the bed. I'll be like, Erin, you are supported. You're safe. You're covered. And in that space, you stop losing yourself to the verdict. Does that make sense? Like, the verdict, that word that continues to come up to accuse you, when we create space, in that second, you stop losing yourself. So what we want to do is we just want to expand the seconds. So can I tell you something? Like, that is part of why I created expression. Because I have lived in that chasm for years. Not 4 years. 4 years. A lot longer than 4. And I needed more than a good word. I needed more than a scripture verse. I needed more than a great worship service. Those are awesome, but they only would last a certain amount of time. I didn't even need more of someone telling me, yay, you've got this, because that felt good for 5 minutes, and then the voice came back, right? So I needed something tangible, something my body could actually do. A way to start listening to a different voice than the one I had been running with, all that had been running me and that I had been running for so long. And I want you to know, before we go anywhere else today, hear me. I need your ears to hear this, your heart to hear this, your nervous system to hear this. You are not anonymous here. You are not just a name on a list. You're not just attendees. You're someone I think about between Saturdays. You're someone I pray for regularly. And, people look at me from the outside and they're like, okay, wow, she's growing businesses. She's doing all these things. She created Stop the Body War masterclasses. That was really cool. Then she created You Are Not Broken, this incredible group thing. She created this Encounter and now Expression. And listen, I'm grateful that I actually do what I love. I love my job. But these things have been in my heart for years. Years, y'all. I didn't necessarily have all the words to them, but those monsters from the Gorge kept climbing up and stealing my momentum, stealing my hope, and stealing my peace. So hear me, I'm not just trying to build this big, empire. I'm trying to create something that gives people real, tangible solutions. People from every walk of life, every religion, every background, something that actually works. And as you know, this might not feel like church as you've known it. Good. Awesome. Seek never really was church as you might have known it. And there's nothing wrong with church. I love church. I'm a pastor. But you and I both know what that tangible thing is. It's the person of love. It's the very presence of God. It's the one who said, nothing can separate you from my love. There's not a huge chasm. And as we bring that knowing, the know it, because here's what I know for sure. It can't just be a great message. It can't just be an inspiring talk about the person of love. That's not enough, because I need us all to know it, and experience the Creator. Experience God. Experience Jesus. Experience the Creator of the universe. Experience the universe. Like, we're talking like everything that is in Him. And I want us to experience it. And so even as I'm talking about these things, you may be like, yeah, she's talking to me. Or yeah, I feel like this is going to help me talk to a family member that just doesn't get it. So it's not about I need to be the best speaker in the room to get you to believe something, to talk you into something. This encounter, something real enough that an epic pause starts to create real safety in your body. An epic pause causes your shoulders to drop just a little bit, causes your jaw to loosen just a little bit, so that your nervous system isn't going into constant high alert, freak out mode, keep you safe every time a monster tries to climb up over that cliff. And that's why I said, could you just say yes to the chasm right now, the gorge? Again, I'm not going to keep you hanging there, but the fact is I need to take the power of it. I need to take the scariness. Now, once we knew, when we started this movie, we knew it probably wasn't just about some pretty property that's under there. Like, we kind of had a feeling there's a reason why they hire the best of the best snipers on either side of this gorge. There's probably a reason why they're there. And so you had an idea that maybe something bad was there. But what happens when our body is constantly bracing for the something bad that might happen? What happens when we just take all the fog away and we realize there's actually not monsters there? It's actually this really beautiful place. And I don't have to sit here like a sniper and keep in protection mode all the time. My nervous system doesn't have to be on high alert all the time. I just want to tell you something really cool. We had a memorial service. Well, Dad and I, Dad's brother-in-law, right, passed in Texas. And yesterday morning, we watched it online and in Houston, as we were talking about earlier, and just sat and listened to this memorial service online for a precious, precious man, right? He was a big-time lawyer in Texas for many, many years. I mean, one of the biggest, I think, in Texas, and represented huge, huge companies. Like, he was big time. He was a defense lawyer, and he was good at what he did. The best, cutthroat. And the kind of guy where on the surface you might not have even known what he believed. Because he was a deliverer. He was that polished speaker. He was, and even as a kid, I don't remember him saying a whole lot. I remember this little crooked grin that would kind of come up on his face, and he had this mischievous thing going on all the time. I remember that as a kid. But yesterday, as his son got up, he was an amazing speaker. He beautifully wove together the story of this man's whole life. And they found journals, things that he had written that I'm sure most people in that room had never heard him say out loud. He may have even had those journals in a place that nobody else read them. I'm just guessing, knowing him. And somebody also talked about a weekly Bible study that he had asked, could you guys just keep this quiet, not tell anybody that we do this? And they showed up there once a week at 5:30 a.m. every Friday, and they would just study the Bible together. And anyways, one by one, people stood up and talked about how he had influenced their life. And there's a reason this story is important this morning. Listen, he wasn't a preacher. This wasn't some polished ministry family with a tidy testimony. This was a complicated, real, full life. But as I sat there listening to story after story, I was undone. I really I felt the beauty of it all, and the beauty of this family who, honestly, they grew up really different than a lot of us. They grew up really wealthy, different kind of wealth than I've ever experienced. But he worked for that. Like, he put in the time, and they didn't come from money, they came from nothing. And so as I was listening to these stories, what rang further, way beyond like how much money they have or all the cool things that they've been able to do, and was this deep attachment to God. And the minister, whoever did the funeral, said, I'm looking at all of these rows of people from all of these generations, multi-generations, knowing that they all have this connection to God because they had seen it. People had experienced it. This presence of God woven through every single part of their lives, yet none of them are ministers. Even the parts that didn't look spiritual from the outside were. Even reading the stories were so deeply spiritual. Why? Because there was somehow a connection to love inside of them. Every one of them, down to the kids. It was really one of the most beautiful things that I've witnessed in a long time. And why this story? Here's why I brought that up right now, because we've been talking about worthiness. We've talked about I'm loved. I can walk in and I can show up exactly as I am. Right? We've also talked about this chasm sometimes that feels like it's in between me and that love. That gap between what we know we should be experiencing and what we're actually experiencing. And here's what I think happens, and why a lot of us get stuck, is we start thinking that it's about performance. If our testimony was a little louder, if our relationship with God looked a little bit bigger, a little brighter, a little more impressive from the outside, then we'd feel it. And we kind of get into this compromise game where we think if only I were doing more, this would finally happen for me. And again, you might not be using those same words, but there's this temptation to feel like all of this would work out if I was better somehow. And that, y'all, is what keeps us in a nervous system loop, a stress loop. It's scientific. That's a big reason why people will not be able to sleep at night. Let me just ask, does anybody have a hard time going to sleep when you first go to bed? It's like your body's tired, but then you lay there and all of a sudden your brain starts making the list of everything that you're not, or everything you wish you were, or everything that's coming up. And then we start creating a story. We don't want to, but it's like it's on autopilot. And it's just constantly, right? And I used to be there. I used to be there. I am not there anymore. Now I have a different problem. It's not a problem. I have creative mode problem. And like my brain is just on high. Wait, you could do this. Do you really need to go to bed yet? Like, what if you created this or created that? And so now I use these techniques to say, I will literally tell my body, hey, Erin, you did so good today. You did a great job. And this stuff that you're thinking about, this new program or adding something to the existing program, it doesn't have to happen tonight. Like, I will remind my body, this doesn't have to happen tonight. We're going to remember it tomorrow. We'll save it for tomorrow, or I'll make a note of it. But there are ways of going, okay, now I can just be, because I am worthy of rest. You're worthy of rest. And so when those things start coming and it's like bam, 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 a lot of times what I'll do, y'all, whether it's good or bad, I will say, you know what? It's okay. If you don't want to sleep right now, and I'm talking my nervous system, my body, if you want to sleep, you don't have to. But just lay here and close your eyes and rest. Be at rest. I invite my body to be in peace, to be in rest. I take the pressure of the performance of sleep off. Y'all, I'm just telling you, it works. Because even getting a good night's sleep can feel like a performance if you rarely have it, right? And so I felt strongly today that I wanted to address this chasm head on. Because here's the truth. This entire family living generations deep in the love of God, it's not because that father had the loudest testimony. In fact, he said, hey, y'all, don't tell anybody. To these two guys, these other two lawyers who met, don't tell anybody that we do this every Friday. Frankly, they didn't want their wives trying to come in and be a part of it. But it wasn't because they were trying to show off their relationship. It's not because he was flashy or because he had some big platform. It was choices, small ones, made over and over along the way. And I want you to know you have that. You have that right now, today. It's not about being flashy. It's not about being loud. It's about showing up. It's about every single moment being intentional. That's it, right? So we're going to turn to the real question, not just a nice phrase. What does that actually mean for me today, right? How do I do that? What does intentionally showing up actually look like in my real world? And I want to tell you about a friend of mine. We talked for like an hour yesterday. It was so fun. She was my first roommate when I first moved here to Nashville. She's just a forever. So that was in the 96, I think. And we worked together and we were roommates. And anyways, she actually, when she heard me talking about Stop the Body War at one of the master classes, she had come. It's always fun when your longtime friends come and are a part of what you do. And she was like, Erin, you're onto something. I mean, she'd been going to counseling for years. She's done therapy for years. And she's like, you're onto something, Erin. And she did the You Are Not Broken project with us. And so talking to her and hearing her testimony now of what life looked after we went through that 9-week awesome program, is she was going for a job, a big one that she really wanted. And she had actually put in multiple applications for these jobs, and nothing was happening. Just wasn't. And she would email, push, and she felt the weight of that constant push. Always just trying to do it, even looking up, okay, what's the best thing I can do? And she just, as she learned in You Are Not Broken, she learned how to, could I just let this go? Could I say yes to the chasm? There's a yes. There's a big chasm in between me and the job I want and the career I want. And I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to build a bridge. Well, it's not your job to build a bridge. And so she just said it, and she said, I'm just saying yes to this chasm right now. What you're doing, you're taking the power off of the strength of the chasm, right? And you just say, okay, I just say yes. Well, guess what, y'all? She's in an incredible job. It is better than what she thought. She's having opportunities. She doesn't have to work nearly as hard as she did at her old job. She has time. She gets to clock out at 5 o'clock. Half the time she works at home. She has to go in 2 times a week. But at 5 o'clock it's done. She doesn't ever bring it home with her. Like, it's almost unbelievable how easy this is. Well, it didn't come from working and striving. She couldn't have done this. It came from this energetic shift of I release this, I let it go. I'm going to choose to even accept the chasm. I'm not going to make it go anywhere. I'm not going to keep resisting. And what happened is peace created space. And that's what I'm talking about. And here I have another friend. This is story time. Story time with Erin today. She was going for a job, a big one that she really wanted. She had been passed over for so many jobs. She was temping and they were okay. But she kept being passed over and she would have a great interview. And then, like at the last 2 seconds, it's like something would shift and they would just pass on her. And she was feeling the weight of bills with no money to pay them, right? Anybody else ever felt that? And her body wasn't exactly where she wanted it to be right now. And she remembered in the past, whenever she really wanted to walk into a room feeling powerful, she'd go buy these sharp, pointy shoes. Oh my gosh, and certain clothes and things that just made her feel like that girl. So she went and she's like, I'm just going to go buy some power shoes. And she's trying these stupid shoes on. Sorry if you like pointy shoes, but definitely if I was in her shoes, I would be like, And so she went to go buy these clothes and shoes, and she's looking at them and she's like, I hate these shoes. Why would I wear them? Why would I buy shoes? And they hurt my feet. And this job is going to require her walking all over. It's at like an apartment manager position, walking all over. And she's like, no, why would I show up to an interview one way, but then know that I'm going to show up different every day if I get the job? So anyways, we talked about it, and I asked my question. Could you accept yourself exactly as you are right now? Because she said, I don't wear pointy shoes anymore. They hurt my feet. And I could hear it in her voice, this like grief, like she'd almost lost access to the version of her that gets to walk in and feel powerful. And I just kept saying, could you accept yourself exactly as you are right now? Could you? And she was intentional to listen to people online who encouraged her acceptance, but there needed to be a tangible, right? So we had talked about the compassion bridge. We've talked about that here. Could you have compassion for the woman who is actually living this life today? The one who doesn't wear fancy shoes and a fancy suit. Could you have compassion for her? Not the one from 5 years ago in the pointy shoes. Because here's the truth. It was never the shoes, y'all, that got her the job. It was never the outfit that got her the job. It was the girl who walked confidently into the room. Whatever she had on, it was her. It was her charisma and her presence and her dynamic. That got her in the room. And that got her the job. It was never the costume. It was her. By the way, she got the job and starts on Tuesday and is getting paid way more than she would have had she gotten any of the other jobs. And she showed up in more comfortable shoes. She wore an outfit that made her feel good in her body that she has right this moment. She showed up. And that's the tangible part, right? This is where it gets real. Am I going to show up exactly as I am? Because here's the truth. I've got to accept me first before anybody else will. Truly. And this waiting game of, when I get better, when my finances are better, when my friendships are better, when I can figure out how to communicate better, when my body feels better. No, showing up exactly as you are. Could I allow me to be exactly as I am right now? That's the foundation. And that's where I want you to see that once you're actually standing in that, y'all, once you've accepted yourself, you've created space for something to happen. You start to have something then to give. I'll tell one more cool story. I think about Will Smith all the time. I read this book called Limitless by Jim Quick. Super cool dude. But, obviously Will Smith is a celebrity. He's huge. But it's not the fame that I want you to notice. It's this. He does something that nobody sees. This has not been written in People magazine. He's not doing it with camera crews filming on his movie sets. Excuse me, y'all. Let me drink my tea that my daddy made me. He does it for the guys running cable, the key grips, the people who never get the applause. They don't walk the red carpet. They're never gonna get the paycheck he gets or the accolades or anybody's full attention, right? They're just there doing the work in the background every single day. And Will Smith creates moments on every set, multiple moments throughout the shoot for them on purpose. He'll plan an epic picnic for the whole crew. He'll fly somebody in, another famous name or a teacher or somebody who has something to give, like Jim Quick. He flew him in once just to come spend an afternoon with the people who never get spent on. He creates a moment. He's not doing it for credit. Most of the world will never know he did it. He's doing it because he understands something. That creating a moment, a real one, for someone who doesn't usually get one, it's not a small thing. And why am I telling you this? Because I'm hoping that there's going to be some triggers in your brain and your heart that go, okay, what can I do exactly as I am? Maybe, y'all, you're like, okay, I can't go out and do that. I don't have the money. My body hurts. Maybe it's a simple phone call, a 5-minute phone call to someone who you know probably doesn't get reached out to. Maybe it's a text. Maybe it's this moment of love. And I'm just telling you, the more you will stop looking at what you're not and start being what you are, y'all, it's magical. And like that ability to give something into this table of life, nothing's too small. And so when I hear that story, something in me went, that's me. That's the thing I love. People will be like, what do you love? Like, I love sitting across the table or Zoom and helping people remember how freaking awesome they are. Like, that's my goal. That's what I love. Like, creating moments, bringing life and light into a room just by showing up. And I think that's true for you guys. But here's the important thing underneath all of it. As we accept ourselves exactly as we are, we get to bring an offering to the world that nobody else can bring the way we can. Nobody does it like you guys. Nobody. And that's not small. It's such a big deal. So I'm hoping that I'm giving you a little hope to attach to that gets beyond that chasm, right? And y'all, that's why I created expression. So I want to tell you a little bit about it. I know some of you have heard a little, but I spent hours and hours over this last week putting together this 16-page workout and blueprint, and it's gorgeous. I love it so much. It's really beautiful, and it's really genuinely delighted me just thinking about handing this offering to people I love. Y'all, I've created a moment that I know will impact your life of creating moments. And for me to see a culmination begin to come together of everything that I've done since I was a little girl is super cool. So I've lived in that chasm, y'all, for years. And I needed more than a good word. I needed more than, you've got this. It feels good, right? I needed that tangible. I needed something my body could do. So I built it. So tomorrow, y'all, if you haven't signed up, 90 minutes, guided just for you in your hands, in your own breath, in this gorgeous workbook. I promise you have not seen or done anything like this, even with me. Yeah, it's not about being artistic. Please, 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 no. It's an intentional, every page designed to actually move something in your body, not just give your mind another idea to agree with. It's not something to read, it's something to do. It's creativity and journaling and your nervous system all working together so that the truth we keep talking about in here actually has somewhere to land. Because what I keep finding is you hear this, or we even have an unlocked coaching session, which is great, but then people are like, okay, but now what do I do? Well, this is something to actually do that helps, that triggers your nervous system into an epic pause. It gets past your head into the part of you that's been waiting the whole time for permission to come alive. That's what expression is. So I did all of what we just talked about, accepting myself exactly as I am, bringing the offering only I could, and I thought, I want to create a moment that I know will impact all the moments. That's what I did. So here's the offer. I got an offer for you guys this morning here at Encounter. I want you to hear this. If you sign up today or tomorrow beforehand, but sign up today so you can get the workbook. Even if you've got Father's Day plans tomorrow and don't know if you can make it or not, sign up because you'll get the full replay, so it'll feel exactly like it will. But also, because here's the kicker, and this is only for you guys, if you do sign up today, even if you can't come live, you get the replay. And I'm going to run this expression again probably within the month, maybe even sooner, because of the many plans this weekend. And if you've already signed up for this one, you also get to come back as my guest for the next one. Even if you come tomorrow, you get the next one for free, which is really cool. It's a gift. So, and I'm not going to just hand you that identical thing twice. You know me. It'll grow. There'll be new things. There'll be new pages in the workbook in the next round. So, I just wanted to let you guys know that. And part of why I'm telling you about this is because, y'all, there's something in you. And I created expression in a moment where it was really, really hard. And there was this temptation. Erin, should you give up on this? Should you do something else? And I remember just thinking, what else am I going to do? This is all I've done. I've been a pastor and a minister, and I've been pouring my life out to people for as long as I can remember. I don't even know how to do anything else. Yeah, but it doesn't pay the bills. What are you doing? And I remember having to sniper the monsters and realize that I am held, I am kept, I am safe. And guess what? When I created space, creation came. And I created this incredible 90-minute moment. So I just want you to know there's things in there for you, but there's things in you for us. So I'm just telling you. So I wanted to make that offer. And so as we close, before you go, and I'll put the, here's where you can sign up. You've probably all gotten the emails because I've sent a lot this week. Yes, I have. I want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to be a part of this. And listen, it's $97. But like I said, if you do this weekend, whether you can come or not, you get the replay, plus you get the next one. It's really cool. It's really cool. I love it. So before we go, I just want to speak something over you. So could you get comfy, maybe close your eyes, just rotate your shoulders a little bit. So I want to speak this over you. You are not that voice. You are not what that voice says you are. You never have been. You showed up here today exactly as you were. Not as you wished you were. Not as you'll be someday when you finally figured it out. And that was enough. It has always been enough. I've even changed, y'all. Even, I used to do our happy hour online on Facebook. And we would talk about, like, see the place where you want to be. See the body as you want it to be. And I realized after doing that for years, by focusing on what I want us to see and create, I am essentially in my nervous system saying, because this isn't enough. Notice how I quit doing that. It's not that we don't have a dream or we don't have a goal. It's not even that. But now when I picture my body in the way that I would love for it to be, it's not because this is enough. No, I'm here. I'm showing up. I show up every week in this body, happy with this body. And now my transformation is coming from this, right? Not from my Sunday when I finally have it figured out. So hear me. You showed up here with who you are, exactly as you are, and that was enough. And the chasm you feel, it's not because something is wrong with you. It's just the space between who you are and who you've been told you have to become before you're worthy of love. I need you to hear me. You don't have to close that gap to be loved. You're already standing in it. You don't need pointy shoes. You don't need the loudest testimony. You don't have to have a Bible study at 5:30 in the morning. Everybody in the back says, yay. You don't have to have the biggest platform. You don't have to have the most impressive anything. You just need to show up exactly as you are today. Because that is the offering nobody else on this earth can bring the way you bring. So today, I pray that you walk out of this Zoom, this moment, differently than you walked in. I pray that the next time that voice climbs up over the edge to tell you something's wrong with you, your body remembers this morning. I told lots of stories on purpose. I threw a lot of paint on the wall to see what sticks. I just want you to remember the power of the epic pause. Remember that you are held, that you are supported. Remember that you're here and you are enough. And so I pray you go create a moment for somebody today. Not because you have to perform it, but because it's already who you are. Listen, Vicki, Dad, Pastor Becky, you are not broken. Mary, Julie, Terry, love is not what you do. Love is not what you say. Love is who you are. You are it. Sean, Aisha, Katrina, Shane, you are not broken. You never have been. You are the experience of love. Every one of you, me, we are the tangible experience of love here on earth. So I bless you. I bless you with peace and hope and courage this week. And happy Father's Day to the dads we have in the room. I know we have 3. Oh, I love it. Happy Father's Day, Shane and Sean. And to my daddy, y'all are the best. Listen, love you guys. Obviously, this is not a meeting. It's an experience of love. Love is who you guys are. All right. If anybody wants to say anything, we're done. If anybody wants to say anything or add something, you can unmute and jump in, or we'll just wrap it up. And hopefully you guys sign up for Expression. I mean, I'm telling you, I made it so affordable, and you get 2 of them for that. I didn't do that just to have a slick sales thing. No, I really want people, if you can't experience it live, I want you to be able to experience it. And so Expression is just, it's cool, it's fun, it's just going to be different than this, different than anything you've experienced. So hope to see you there tomorrow at 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. Central Time. All right, I didn't see any unmutes, so I love you guys. You're the best, and I will see you tomorrow or next Saturday. All right, y'all, have the best weekend and week. Ciao.